welcome Commanders family. My name is Brian Coble Jr. Here with Super Bowl champion Brian Mitchell, Mr. 8 to the 9, Santana Moss,
brothers.
And we are out here in Detroit for the 2024 NFL Draft. And this is your Command Center Draft Special Live presented by SeatGeek, the official primary ticketing partner of the Washington Commanders. And of course, we have to give thanks to the MGM Grand Detroit for hosting us here, for having us here. I don't know about y'all, but my room's beautiful. I'm having a great time.
Yeah, my room's beautiful too.
Don't bring up rooms with me.
Tanner room was in the lobby for a while.
I was in the lobby until 4 o'clock.
Well, you know what? Now we're taken care of. Now we're comfortable. And we have our Commanders family here with us. We thank y'all so much for being here. We have folks drive from the DMV.
All right.
San Antonio. We have people from all over, so we appreciate you guys so much. And what we like to do here is we like to really dive into everything that we're going to dive into and the following day, which we're going to have a live show Thursday night for the draft, where we're giving you everything you need to know about our next pick, our first round pick. And one thing we always like to do with these fellas, because they've played the game, because they've been here before, we like to get their memories, their times. And both of these brothers have the pleasure of being drafted.
Yeah.
B-Mitch, you went in the 5th round, man. Bring us back to that point. And what did that moment mean for you and your family, brother?
Well, I was drafted so long ago, it wasn't on TV, to be honest with you. But the ultimate thing, listen, man, I know every guy waiting to be drafted, they don't care which round, which position. It seems like that. You just want to be picked.
Yes.
And once you're picked, I don't care if it's the first pick or the last pick or undrafted free agent, you're ecstatic.
Yeah.
You're happy because you know what? That lifelong dream is finally coming to fruition.
Yeah.
You know, I got drafted. I was sitting there. I was on my sofa asleep, and my phone rung. I had that big old Cellular One. Anybody remember that? You know, I had that big Cellular One phone, and they said we're going to call you in our next pick, and we're going to pick you. It was Coach Don Bro. And once I got drafted, I went to the local watering hole. And we had a party, you know. Listen, I was 5th rounder, but you would have sworn I was a 1st rounder.
Yeah.
Everything was on the house. I had a great time. But once I got drafted, my mindset immediately went to, now I have to show them who I am, what I'm about, and have to do it for the long term. And by having that mindset, I was able to stay around for 14 years.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That draft is only one thing. It's what you do after the draft is what's going to really keep you around.
So, B-Mitch, I've kind of heard that a bunch from, like, different prospects, especially guys that kind of went, like, outside of the 1st and 2nd. Were you sleeping and, like, trying to relax because you were trying to not let the pressure of the situation get to you? Or was it just, you just knew you were getting drafted at some point? Like, why were you so calm in that moment?
Well, I was frustrated, to be honest with you, because they told me I was going. I mean, the Saints said they were going to draft me in the 2nd round. Steelers had mentioned 3rd round. Those rounds passed. But when I was drafted, I forgot about who said they were going to draft me somewhere. All I wanted was the opportunity.
Yep.
And once you get the opportunity, that's all that matters. You know, listen, man, Tanner, when he got drafted, it didn't make a difference in the 1st round. He wanted to prove something to somebody.
Yeah.
You know, what's inside of you has to come out. You know, I always tell people, I see everybody every year get that little silver medallion. Do you have the work ethic to match that silver medallion? Or are you going to just be wearing that for a bit and going back home?
Yeah. And you talk about work ethic, Santana, that's the perfect transition to you, my brother, because you were a 1st round pick.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that. Kind of a different experience for you, but I love hearing your draft stories because I know that was a very important time for you.
But he hit it on the head. I cared less about the round. But at that point, you got to think about it. I kind of came to the back door of college football by being a walk-on. So to come through the way I got into playing ball as a walk-on to now me leaving as a 1st round pick or a draft choice, I was looking at all the stuff that I didn't get a chance to experience going into college. Now I'm experiencing it now leaving here, you know, as far as like being a guy that's highly sought out. You know what I mean? I watched so many guys take these trips to these colleges and you know, be high recruits. And now here I am going to the NFL, that big time recruit. You know, when it came to Senior Bowls,
you recruited about money right now, boy.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I didn't have to worry about some of that stuff. So you know, but it was just I was ecstatic though, bro. I looked at it. I looked at my journey, and I'm like, you know what? I would do it all over again because, you know, in order for us to do what we do, you know, you hear a lot of folks say, man, you got to be a little crazy. Yeah, you got to be a little crazy, but at the same time, you got to have purpose.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the things in life that we all have, regardless if you're playing you're a professional athlete, or you just want to be, you know, your everyday 9-to-5 worker. You got to have a purpose.
There you go.
I had a purpose from day one. My goal was to be an NFL player. When I was asked that question at 5 and 6 years old, who you want to be when you grow up, what you want to do when you grow up. When I said that to my father, I've always had that in my mind. So that was my purpose, and I was able now to finally see that, come to fruition.
I was a quarterback in college, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders had my rights, and I was basically a first-round pick to go to Canada.
Wow.
They were going to pay me more money.
Wow.
But I have never dreamed about playing football in Canada. So I told them, listen, you wait around. If I go on that first day, I'm going to try the NFL.
Yeah.
If something happened, then you can see me. They held my rights till I was in my 11th year.
Dang.
And they never let him go. But the ultimate thing for me was I wanted that shot at the NFL. That's what I watched every day. That's what I wanted to do. Yeah. And that's why I worked so damn hard. Because I had a guy tell me, we'll see you at home in a few. I haven't moved back to Louisiana since 1990, April of 1990.
Wow. Amen. Amen.
And I think you have to have that drive. That's why I tell guys all the time, it's easy to be drafted. It's hard as hell to stay around.
Yeah.
And when you get double-digit years like he did and I did, that's because we did a little bit, we sacrificed. We had fun, but we sacrificed and did the things we needed to do.
And Tanner, man, I love you mention about living in your purpose and trying to fulfill your purpose. And ladies and gentlemen, if y'all don't know nothing about Santana Moss, this brother is way too humble. So I got to give you your flowers real quick because back when you were drafted, me and you were having this conversation a little earlier, a 5'10" receiver was not highly sought after. A shorter receiver was not, they didn't understand what that kind of receiver could do in the league. Then you get drafted in the first round, and then things change. You kind of set the tone, for other smaller receivers, and now that's kind of the norm. 5'10" is the norm, man. You see a 6'2" receiver, you're like, oh, that's a big boy. Tanner, man, how important was that to you? Because I'm sure when you were living in this purpose and you were trying to fulfill this dream, you didn't really realize the impact you were going to have. But now that you're on the back end, man, how important is that impact that you've made on the league?
It's crazy. I talked to you about it, and it's just like something that comes up. But to tell you the truth, until someone speaks out to me about it, saying like, hey, you and Steve Smith kind of changed the whole, spectrum of how they view receivers at you guys' size, I don't think about it until I'm hearing it from someone else. And at the time, being in the moment, I pay no attention to it, because to be told that, hey, what you did for these 4 years, you can be the first receiver, but you're not because you're 5'10". That sucks. You know what I mean? Because that's like almost telling you, oh, we want you, but we don't want, like, come on, like, let me go out here and show you. So I care less about the size, because I felt like all my life I heard you can't do it because you're this small. But every time I went out there, I proved you different, not even trying to prove a point. I didn't have a point to prove to no one but myself. You see what I'm saying? I didn't play the game to make sure that you saw something. I played the game because this is something that I felt that was given to me, and I was going to fulfill that because, sometimes, like you say, we all have, I guess you get blessings. We all have our blessings. We all gifted with certain things. But if you're not living within it, you're not going out there, you're not attacking it, then you're missing out. You're kind of basically wasting that blessing. So I felt like from day one, I was put on the field to cut grass. My feet, the things I can do on the football field was second to none. You know what I'm saying? So
that's your calling.
Bingo. That was my like, we talk about going to school. What did you major in? Yeah, I majored, but my first major was football. You know what I'm saying? I finished, I graduated, I went to school twice. You know what I mean? I went back and got something else, but I was there. My purpose was, I'm going to do whatever it takes here to make sure come Saturdays, when it's time to go out there and lace them up, I'm going to be at my best there. So, yeah, man, I look back at it now and I smile. But I never cared about that kind of, hanging over me, because at the end of the day, it was other guys that were smaller than me that I saw play the game. So I wasn't the first to do it. I was just probably the first because of the time you didn't see too many guys my size being talked about as being a high first round draft pick. So that was a little different than first, from just seeing the other guys. Like I told you, I grew up in Miami. Mark Duper, Mark Clayton, those guys were short. I see those guys to this day, and I'm standing next to them, kind of got a couple of inches on them. You know what I'm saying? So, but I was enjoying just having the opportunity, and I think that's more than anything. Like, not to get off topic, we was talking about some of these guys being drafted today. I mean, this weekend. One of the things that happened to me that I was happy it happened, like I just told you, I had the first class treatment going into the draft. I'm a first round pick. I get selected by the New York Jets. I go up there. Immediately I get hurt. So I'm like back at square one. I'm like, wow, just how quick it came, it could be taken. And then I had to reprocess and rethink all that over again. Say, now I got to dig deep and get back into that same guy who was hungry enough to get here Now I got to start that process over. So that's another thing these guys have to understand. Once you make it, you haven't arrived yet until you really go out there and be special on that field. So don't think that you made it just because you got drafted. You still have a job to do.
Ladies and
Gotta
gentlemen,
go through some stuff.
Round of applause for Santana Moss, man. Get his brother his flowers, man. That's beautiful. And you know what, Commanders family, I think that's the coolest part about this Command Center thing that we do is we have this type of exclusive access to legends and greats and people that know how to do this. And we also have exclusive access to our fans. We want to hear from you. Now, we usually do hashtag left hand up in the comments to leave your questions for these gentlemen, but we changed it up a little bit this year. All right, things is different now. We're doing hashtag raise hail. That's H-A-I-L. Raise hell.
Like
so all
that.
y'all in
I
there
like
too,
that.
y'all can go into the comments and leave hashtag raise hell
Literally.
to leave y'all
like
questions for these gentlemen. I will do my best to read them all right now in front of you guys so y'all can get y'all questions answered. And you know what, Beamish, before we move on, because you know what I'm saying, since we giving flowers to Santana Moss, brother, I think we need to give flowers to you too as well, because you said it. Coming out of college, you were a quarterback.
Yep.
You were a black quarterback at a time where that wasn't as popular as it is now.
Especially at 5'10" and a half.
Especially at 5'10" and a half. But now you look at this league now, and you see shorter brothers playing quarterback, and it's almost what people are really looking for. B-Mitch, man, how great is it to see the NFL develop and change the way it has since when you played?
Well, it's great to see it because I think the ultimate thing is, for a period, the NFL wanted to say what size you needed to be able to play a position. I returned kicks and punts. I left the NFL, and you can look at the records and figure them out. But I was not the prototypical return size. Barry Sanders was, 200 pounds, 198. Emmitt Smith was about 203. I played at 220. I got up to 220, 221, and I was still considered a small back.
Wow.
Because the league likes to tell you what you're supposed to be to do something. I was a guy that wasn't very... I don't dance. I don't dance in clubs. I don't dance on the field. So at 221, I still could put down a 4-4, and I'll put my shoulder pads in your chest. So I played running back and kick return like a linebacker. And now to see these guys playing quarterback and being given the opportunity because they are the better athlete on the field. They can still process and think and do different things. You know, I'm watching Kyler Murray and Bryce Young. I don't know what they're saying about Bryce Young. I was at the Super Bowl and I stood next to him. Dude is not 5'11" or nothing. I'm told that he is. Because I know I saw the top of his head on an angle.
You giving up the secrets, man.
He is not that. But I like the fact, hell, Johnny Manziel wasn't super tall.
Right.
What's my game? My Baker Mayfield's not tall. If the dude can spin the football and the dude can think through it, give him a chance. If he's the best passer on the team, he needs to be the best. Everybody that's 6'5" and take a snap can't be a great quarterback.
Yes.
Some of them, and the league has gotten faster today, so you can't go with these slow guys too much. You got to get somebody that can move. And today, when you look at it, you have to be athletic, not very fast, but you have to be able to move and extend to be a good quarterback in the league today.
And B-Mitch, you're always ahead of the curve, brother, because you know what? I could talk to you all day about, y'all experiences, but, we got to talk a little bit of draft. The draft is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Commanders have 6 picks in the top 100. Yeah, there you go. I love that. I love the energy, I'm excited, too. This is amazing. You know what I'm saying? 6 picks in the top 100, 9 picks overall.
Yeah.
But we talking quarterbacks. That's what everybody want to talk about.
Yeah.
So let's talk quarterbacks. Let's run it down the line. Jayden Daniels. A lot of people have favored him as the next quarterback taken after Caleb Williams. We all assume that Caleb Williams is going to the Chicago Bears. B-Mitch, Jayden Daniels. What have you seen from this brother that makes you say, you know what, I trust this guy to lead the team?
Electricity. I think what happens is the assumption has been Caleb is going to Chicago. But I talked to a guy today on the show, and he was like, people are comparing Jayden to the rest of the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Jayden should be compared to Caleb. And he said when you start looking at it, really look at Jayden's year last year compared to Caleb's. Yeah. Jayden might be the better quarterback.
Yeah.
So when you start hearing that, you go, okay, if this guy should be in comparison to the guy that everyone has assumed will be the #1 pick, if you get a chance to pick him, you take him. We were talking earlier before we started the show where everybody wants to say, oh man, he could be great because he run the ball a lot. No. He passed for 3,800 yards. Okay? He had 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. And then he ran for over 1,000 and he had no 10. That's exceptional. But I talked with Greg Cosell, somebody I highly, highly respect. And Greg Cosell was like, listen, people want to sit up here and just look at his athleticism. He said, this guy in the pocket is as good as anybody in this draft. So when you look at a guy that can spin it with the best of them, and he's gotten, it almost me when people go, well, all he did was get better. That's what the hell he's supposed to do, all right? And I can't assume that the guy got better every year, 3 years at Arizona State, then he comes here and he got better at LSU in a conference where the best football players are there. On top of that, he had a coach who's a maniac and an idiot. He'd be crazy. He dealt with him.
Yeah.
And he had a fan base that expects a lot. Yeah. And that dude went and followed Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
And he probably was as good or better than Joe in the league. Yeah. You know, so I just think that he's electricity, and he would want to get a fan base hyped.
Yes.
That will get him hyped. I promise you that.
Yeah, you know, just talking about the kid, I think he's a game changer. Yeah. You know, that's one of the things that I think at that position is what most teams are looking for nowadays. You know, we see so many different games that are won in the NFL by that quarterback. You know, and it's a lot of games that these teams have great defenses now. A lot of teams now are showing, because, you know, for so many years it was, you know, defense wins championships and the offense going to, you know, put people in the stands. But when it comes down to it in the fourth quarter, game on the line, you need a drive. Who are you looking for to make that drive? Who are you looking for to make that play? Your quarterback. Yep. You see what I'm saying? Bingo. And we just saw that in the Super Bowl. Yes. Like I mean, it was almost like deja vu watching this guy. Game on the line, what he's going to do. And you just saw the guy scrap everything that had transpired throughout those 4 quarters to this one drive. I'm finna go out there and be special. Yeah. Whatever they did to stop me or rattle me, this one drive I need to be special. So that's what you're looking for, and that's what I think a guy like Jayden Daniels shows you when you watch his film. You see a guy that when he gets pressure, he know how to slide to the right spot, and when he see open, let me go. It's time for me to go now. It's time for me to exit this pocket and go out there and do what I was blessed to do. And not only can he run, he can throw the ball. You just stated that. So that's what I see, and I think when it comes down to it, you know, this draft, don't get it twisted. They're trying to find reasons to say what you can't do. You understand? Yeah. Like, they see what you could do, because that's why they have you up there slotted where you're at. They know you can be the second overall, the first overall. You have these numbers, but they want to nitpick what he can't do, or what is it? What is it that we can talk about to make you say, this is the reason why we shouldn't, you know, go after a guy like that. But I think when you see every guy, because like just because we're talking about Jayden Daniels, you know, every guy that's have a chance to be in that realm of top 3, top 4, top 5 picks, all those guys are special. And I think it's just about what do you feel like that your team needs? Who you want? You know, who's the guy for you? And I look at it from what we have when it comes to Kingsbury, his offense, his style of play. What quarterback fits that mold? You know what I mean? I think he's the guy. But if you want to be technical, you want to be critical, you know, I can say that Penix was probably the better passer in the league last year in college football. But they're going to put up there and say he has 2 injuries, so that's why we're going to put him here. But he got over that. You see what I'm saying? So just look at it for what it is. All these guys are special. I think Jayden Daniels was the best when it comes down, because he won the Heisman. And dang right, if I have that opportunity to go out to a guy at that pick, you know where I'm going at. I'm going to go ahead and put my card in tonight. You know what I'm saying?
I love your guys' analysis on that, because I feel like Jayden Daniels is getting keyed as an athlete that can throw, which isn't the case. He is a quarterback that is athletic, had the #1 QBR in the NCAA.
73%.
It's crazy. So, ridiculous. I got to ask you, we talked about this a little earlier. Why do you think he is getting pegged that way, and why do you think people are so against giving Jayden Daniels the credit he deserves?
It's what it's been forever. You know, when you are athletic and you're African American, you consider an athletic quarterback. You don't get the grace of saying how good you're in other positions. Because when you look at the league right now, Josh Allen is super athletic.
Yes.
He's a passer. He's a game changer. Justin Herbert can move around. He's a game changer. Joe Burrow, when he's healthy, you see, he runs around. He can move, but nobody ever just say he's just an athlete and he can run. But when you are a guy who's very athletic and you're African American, you get knocked like that because they only look at your athleticism and not the rest of it. I think what you have to look at is watch the game and listen to the commentators. And they're talking about that was a smart play? Do you see the brilliance of that? I watched LSU. I grew up right across the river from LSU. They are talking about him in a way that needs to be thought about. And let's get to the point. Man, look, everybody, we have been told what we can't do. I don't care what with your culture. You've been told you can't do something because people think only a certain culture can do it. Everybody's already proven that stuff wrong. Mm-hmm. So now we see quarterbacks doing this thing in the league. Hell, Pat Mahomes, he's done his thing. So let's get past that and just let people play. And if they're good, they're good. But we can't try to, railroad him or put him into like a little box.
Yeah.
He has proven he's not in a box anymore.
Yeah, and Tanner, man, let's move on to the next quarterback, Drake May, because, we talk about polarizing prospects, and I think Drake May, maybe out of all the quarterbacks, maybe is the most polarizing.
Yeah.
You have people that love him, you have people that aren't sure about him, you have some people that are nervous because he went to North Carolina, like a former quarterback that we did have. There's a lot of speculation on Drake May. How do you feel about this guy, and do you have any concerns about Drake May, especially after he kind of had a down statistical year compared to the previous year he had?
I mean, I'm a receiver, so the first thing I'm looking at when I'm watching quarterbacks, I'm looking at accuracy. I'm looking at, can you dissect the defense? So some of those things stands out more than others. Now, the one thing I did see from Drake May, he's a guy who's very capable of playing in this level. One, his size alone proves that. Stocky kid. Well, I believe, 6'4", 6'3", 6'4".
About 230.
And, has a nice thickness about itself like Sam Howell. He almost fit the same, mold when it comes to watching these guys. And at times you see him doing everything that you want to see a quarterback do. Reading the defense, stepping up in the pocket, sliding, getting out of danger, getting out of harm's way when he need to. But is that pass accurate enough to make a play that when we need you to make that play or need you to make that throw? And I haven't seen that a lot on film. Now, who's to say that this little off time going into the draft, he's not going to work on it, not going to be better when he come in the draft? None of us know what these guys are going to be, when they step onto the NFL practice facility, practice field. So, but when you have to ask me today, what would be the one thing in the back of my head would say, will make me kind of say, I don't know. And that's the only thing. It's all about accuracy. And when I hear so many different analysts who probably spend more time watching and dissecting film than I do, I'm just looking at what I'm looking at because I played the game, so I have a different eye. I don't have to sit there and watch, all that film on you. I'm gonna watch a couple of key games and see what you're doing. But I hear so many guys saying maybe he needs a year to sit. See, that's right there a red flag for me, because if you're thinking about us in the position that we in, we didn't bring
the ground running.
We didn't bring the quarterback that we have in our, that's there now to be our starter. We need a guy that's going to be able to come in there, and maybe they might compete, or maybe that guy's there to bridge that guy to be the starter. But we need somebody who's going to be ready. So when I hear you saying that a guy might need a year to sit, or a guy's not very accurate, it gives me that red alert that maybe that's not the guy I'm going to bring into my house. But at the same time, like I said before, what do we know? You know what I mean? Yes. Just because we saw that on the collegiate level doesn't mean it's going to transfer to the pro level if he has the right kind of tutelage or the right kind of coaching.
Yeah. I think when you look at it, for me, the dude can make all the throws. And I go back to, what's the guy, 50-50, that's what we called him? The receiver?
Terry?
Back in the day, they drafted him here in Washington. He's now on Amazing Race or whatever. And he called him 50-50 because he always caught Rob Gardner.
Oh, Rob Gardner,
the tough passes, but he dropped all the easy.
See, I didn't know they called Rob Gardner. We came in together.
We caught 50% of them.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
So he caught tough passes, but he dropped the easy ones. You become great by always catching the easy balls, and you occasionally make the spectacular catch. I've heard a lot of people talking about Drake, and they say, "Man, I just look at his highlights." If I just look at people's highlights, they're great. Everybody will be great.
Yeah.
But you have to look at the lowlights as well, okay? And then a lot of times they say he misses the easy passes. You can get better in this league, okay? But as Tanner stated, we're in a position right now where you don't make a first pick, a second pick in the draft, and the guy needs a lot of work. Yeah. If you want to draft that guy, you draft him and he hits the ground running. But like some people feel like if you have been improving in college, it stops when you get to the pros. If you've proven that you get better for 5 years straight, you're getting better, you're going to continue probably getting better. Yeah. This guy, but I will say this, if they were to draft Drake, I'm not going to be upset.
Yeah.
Because the reason I won't be upset, the most important hire or most important pick of this whole thing all offseason was Adam Peters. And then he got all these guys on the coaching staff, and I know a lot of these guys who knows how to develop talent.
Yes.
We've had a history of coaches that couldn't develop talent. Now I feel that if they get somebody, they can get the best out of them. So it makes the team better. I don't think there's a quarterback in this draft that's going to step in here and just carry the team on their backs. You have to have people around you and have people develop, and I believe this coaching staff can do that. So whoever they get, you're going to go with that. But if like I said, if I'm picking, I'm going with the guy who has shown me already he's gotten better and better and better and better. And look how good he got in that time. And we always say we want a guy that has some level of experience playing around. He's played 5 years.
And gotten better.
He got better every year. So that experience is a little bit more than being a guy who's been a 2-year player over a 5-year player.
You talk about that experience. I think national championship experiences made a big deal in this draft.
Yeah.
We've seen a guy like J.J. McCarthy, quarterback out of Michigan, just shoot up the boards. I mean, we're seeing things that he might go number 2. Like, we have no idea where this guy's going. Another polarizing prospect. B-Mitch, what do you think you've seen from J.J. that has made him jump up like this? And do you think he can be one of these top guys to go in the top 5?
The thing about J.J., and I think a lot of people are going to be thinking this way, the guy that played for 20-plus years and won 7 Super Bowls didn't play a lot in college. But he had the work ethic and the determination that most guys do not ever have. Tom Brady, I'm talking about. You watch JJ, he was on a team that was a pro-style offense that was run first. And occasionally he was asked to deliver here. Teams approach him differently than they do most quarterbacks. Because if you mess around and go rush Michigan trying to get at the quarterback, one of those running backs running right past you, going down the field. But what he was asked to do, he did that to perfection.
Yes,
so you have to look at that. And the guy won in high school, he won in college. You see him as a winner. And that pedigree goes a long way. And then you look at him as in his leadership qualities. So when you see all of that, I believe that, he's going to be a guy that, but he, in the NFL now, what do we all do? The pressure's on the quarterback. He hadn't been a guy that had to carry his team. In the NFL, he will have to do it. Can he do it? Probably so. But do I know that for a fact? I don't know if he can or not. I don't want to be experimenting right now. Cliff Kingsbury likes to throw the ball around. He didn't have to throw a ball a lot in Michigan because they had some running backs that would run down your throat, and Jim was going to run that thing all day. You know what I mean? So ultimately, I like him. But I think he can go to a team where he has that chance to grow. I look at the New England Patriots as a prime example. They have the kid that was with us last year. I keep forgetting all these damn names here. Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett is good enough where he can wait that year and then come into it and make that run. They wanted Tom to wait. But injury had him thrown into the thing, and Tom was just different. Tom said he ain't ever getting his job back, and he never did. And JJ may be the same way. But I just don't see right now where we are waiting for someone to develop.
And Tan, you kind of feel the same way, right? Do you feel that a top 10 or top 5 pick is too heavy for a guy that is not ready to start right away?
I mean, honestly, being a guy that's been in those shoes, I won't doubt any guy from having that opportunity. I feel like if you're worthy enough and they feel like you're great for that, for that pick, for that round, for that number, go get them. But I will say, at the end of the day, it's all about every team is going to pick their poison. You see what I'm saying? What fits? What is right for me? What am I looking for? And that's why I say when it comes down to it, that's how you can almost kind of nitpick who's going to be the guy that goes where, because you're looking at the team and we've seen so many years of, especially our team, selecting guys that just was guys that was good football players, but you didn't have a place for them on your team. I think now you have a staff that's in there, you have a front office that's in there that's very strategic about how they building this team and how they structuring everything, that it's going to be the perfect guy. Talking about JJ, hey, when it comes down to how he interviewed, very well. How he was coached, very well. Won a national championship. All those things are high. And then when you have a coach that's speaking out about you before you even said a word to anybody, like he's going to be the best or he has the best workout, all that stuff carries. All that stuff carries a lot of weight. And if you're able to step into those offices individually and have your individual meetings and still pass the test and still stand tall, like I heard a guy speak one time on TV and I was blown away. Yeah. So when you have that kind of intangible that this guy can say all the right things, then you watch him play and it's showing up on the field, yeah, I understand why I would be sitting there scratching my head, should we take a chance at him? You know what I mean? But at the same time, you look at it and say, how are we running offenses in this league? Are they run first offense, then pass? No. A lot of these offenses are pass, happy offenses. Yeah. You know, we're going to run just to say we ran. Yeah. You know, we did that last year. I hated it. I'm not sure. I'm probably sure that we're not going to do that this year. But when you look at how he went through his college career, it was more so an older pro-style offense, the offenses that I grew up in or I came up in at the University of Miami. First, second down, we running the ball. Third down, get open, Tanner. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. You're not getting that this day in the league. You're going to need a guy who's going to be able to step back, drop back, and throw that ball, sling that ball. Yeah. Is he ready to do that? Can he do that? We didn't see him do it a lot. We understood he did what was asked, but can he be the other guy on this level? Because I think any team he goes into, that's the style of play now today in this league.
Mm-hmm. Fellas, a lot of questions around all of these top quarterbacks and a lot of intrigue. And our Commanders family has a lot of intrigue as well. And let's get into some of these questions that they're leaving us. Remember, this is hashtag Raise Hail, H-A-I-L, Raise Hail. Mm-hmm. And our first question is from Ted Abella. I hope I pronounced that right. Tanner had 12 different quarterbacks in his career. Woo. If he had to choose which quarterback in the draft he would like throwing him the rock, who would it be? That is from Ted Abella. Great question, Ted.
Ted, I had 15. So short three on. We can have a talk about that later. Honestly, man, I like a few of them. Like I told you, Penix throws a nice ball. Yeah. So, you know, I like Penix. Jayden Daniels is a guy, too, that raised my eyebrow. I told you guys earlier this year on the Command Center, you know, and for all you guys that's not watching the Command Center, every week, tune in, USA 9 now. So if you don't have to worry about going to YouTube, you can watch it on USA 9.
Yes, you can.
On the Command Center, y'all asked me who would I pick, and due to the fact of how things are slotted, Caleb Williams was one of the guys that I said that I would love for him to fall to us. Probably not going to happen, but those three guys to me stand out. Caleb, Penix, and your man Jayden. Yeah. I will put Penix in front of both of those guys when it comes to catching a pass from them. Like, you know, you asking me who would I want throwing me the ball. I feel like this guy was spot on. Every time I watched him play, any angle, he throwing that ball to those guys, they're just catching it effortlessly. And, you know, that's what y'all look for. You know, I've had so many quarterbacks, and people ask me all the time, who did I like the most? And I always talk about Mark and I talk about Vinny. But besides Mark and Vinny, Todd Collins was one of my favorite quarterbacks. And it's because he threw a great ball. Todd Collins threw a great catchable football. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a guy to give me the ball, give me the opportunity to make a play, and he throws a great pass. And so that's why, you know, I would say those guys.
Man, great question. B. Mitch, I'm going to hit you with one next, all right?
Gotcha.
These rookies' lives are about to change in a weekend. What's one piece of advice you would offer to them heading into the DMV as somebody that has made the DMV home?
Don't believe anything you hear. Listen to me. Nah, I'll say this, you know. You now don't have mom and dad there with you. You have to be the leader of your life. And if you have a veteran on the team, or either, like Tanner said earlier, talking to Whiteside's parents, we have a lot of guys in the area. You know what I mean? Yeah, we have a lot of guys in the area that are willing to talk to you. You don't have to go out there and reinvent the ship. You know, you just reinvent the wheel. You just want to have people who've been through it that can help guide you. And I think don't be afraid to ask. That's the problem. So many young guys today, they don't want to ask. Ask questions. Because no question is stupid. You always hear people saying that. It's the absolute truth. If you ask somebody something, guess what? The dude standing next to you, he wanted that same answer. So and you have somebody that can help guide you along, they can stop you from making a lot of mistakes, especially in D.C. I mean, D.C. will gobble you up. I played in D.C., Philly, and New York. 3 cities that can eat you alive.
And New York was nothing to play with. I played in New York.
And when I was older, I went to Philly and New York. I was still asking questions because there are certain areas you don't want to be. In certain ways you have to act, and you have to respect culture.
Yeah.
Okay? And I would tell every one of the guys, you know, culture, and if you get into the commander's building, ask anybody. I'll give you my phone number. They'll get to me. Yeah. I can let you know the do's and don'ts. I had brothers and sisters when I was growing up. I'm the youngest of 7 kids. And my brothers kept me out of a lot of crap because they had already been in that crap, you know? So you better make sure you ask questions to make and have some confidence. Yeah. People that you can have around you and let you know. Everywhere I see Tanner, I see Stu.
Yeah.
You got to have somebody that's going to watch your back.
Yeah.
You know, don't just be finding new guys to hang out. Find someone that you trust in and be with them all the time.
I want to chime in on that question. It's all about just being smart. You understand? Like, the DMV is a great place to be at. I mean, people find it hard. People ask me all the time, "Hey, you back in Miami?" No, I'm in the DMV. Like, I go to Miami time to time, but I'm like, I love it up there. I mean, it's just one of those places where, you know, you can. When I first got there, I remember Gary Clark, and this is one of the reasons why I say, you know, some of these guys that's playing now, when you see us around, feel free. Because I didn't reach out and ask Gary anything. He made it his duty to talk to me. You understand? So it was times I'd be sitting at the, you know, we had the Redskins at the time. It was called the Redskins. They're lunching right before the season. And Gary will find me and like, hey, if you ever leave here, bro, you'll be stupid. You know, I'm like, you ain't listening to that. Why this dude always tell me this every year? But then I realized, and the first year that I was done playing, he hadn't seen me the whole off season or the season. I was actually getting my MBA, and I came back up for a game. And he's like, didn't I tell you not to leave? I said, no, I'm not. I'm in school. Yeah. So he was like, oh, okay. He's like, you better not leave. And I'm like, trust me, I'm not that dumb. But the reason why I bring this up, because there was guys like Gary that told me, don't leave. There's so much up there for you. And the tradition, the history of our team, that's why we trying so hard to get that back with how we play on the field. You know, that's the only way we can get it back. Got to show up and go out there and down there on the field. But also we got to have the right people in the office to put those guys on the field that's going to be able to bring that back. But it was started by those guys. You know, B. Mitch, Gary Clark, Mark, you know, Art Monk, Darryl Green. All those guys was a part of those championship teams that allowed me, myself that played 10 years in the DMV, to be able to walk around my head high. Not because I played well, but because they brought so much history, rich history. All I had to do was show up and play, and I did that. So any guy, I would tell you, come here and be about your business, handle your business, because if you handle your business, trust me, the city gonna treat you well.
Amen. Give a round of applause to these gentlemen. Give a round of applause to these gentlemen. Yes, man. We love your guys' questions. We love talking to Commanders family, and we got you covered all week with amazing content. You can go to Commanders YouTube page right now and check out the Get Loud podcast. That's with the Mouth of the South, Fred Smoot, our guy, and Michael Jackson. And London Fletcher joins the show, and they do a mock of the first 10 picks of the draft. So it's all draft related. Make sure you go check that out. We also have the Ticket to the Draft podcast. That's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Epic 7-round mock draft. They go through every single pick that the Commanders could possibly make. Woo. That's with your guy, Logan Paulson. We got my producer here, Jason, over there. Just the guy. He does a great job on that, so y'all make sure y'all check that out as well. And then tomorrow, we have a special Command Center Draft Night live special for y'all, where us three will be right on the ground, giving you everything you need to know about what the Commanders are doing with their number 2 pick. And not only that, we'll be on pre, but we'll also be live on the clock. So soon as the Commanders are on the clock, we go live and we talk about everything you need to know before that pick is made.
Suited and booted.
And it's not just us. We got the whole squad with us. Yeah. Fred and Jenks, they're going to be out at a fan rally out in the DMV with the people, amongst the people like they like to be. We have Logan Paulson, London Fletcher, and Bram Weinstein. They're all going to be in the studio in Asper. So we have 3 different locations we'll be coming live to you guys for. Only the best for our Commanders family. Speaking of the best, let's ask one more question from our Commanders family, and this is from Derek Wingham. Do you think we are going to make a trade to get back in the first round to draft a lineman? Now remember, this is #RaiseHell to leave your questions. We got some time left, so make sure y'all put those in there. Fellas, do you think we are going to make a trade to get back into the first round to draft an offensive line?
I don't know if I think we will. I hope we will.
Yeah, I hope we will.
You know what? Listen, man. I played quarterback in high school and college, and I played running back in the league. You can sit up here and get all of the great skill positions you want. If you don't have that engine and the transmission of your football team, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
You need an offensive line, you need a defensive line. And we had one of the most popular lines in the history of football, the Hogs. And for some reason, people got away from that.
Yeah.
They wanted to get everything, but they never. I remember at one point we had Chris Samuels, who had a neck injury, but we had no legitimate left tackle backup on the team. That make no sense to me.
Yeah.
So I think we should go back and get a left tackle and have another backup somewhere along the way. It never hurt, because if you got if a guy can play left tackle very well, he could probably play every position on the offensive line. So yes, I would love to see it.
Yeah.
Because I heard Adam in the last time he spoke, he said, yeah, man, if we have those 2 high picks in the second round, you never know what can happen. I'm hoping that means we're going to move back up and get somebody else.
Yeah.
Now, Tanner, in Command Center, like you mentioned earlier, Fred Smoot had actually said that. He said, I want to take those top 2 second rounders and go back into that first.
Yeah.
Do you think there's value in keeping 2 high second rounders, or do you say, man, package those up, let's get back in that first round?
You have leverage, so take advantage of one and trade the other one. I think you can use either one. You can either say, okay, I'm gonna use my 36th pick, or I can just say I have the 40th pick, so I use that one, and I use 36 to get myself back up in the first round. I think it's almost vital for us to do that, honestly. I mean, especially depending on how those tackles get off the board. You know, if those tackles start coming off the board, we gotta solidify that position. There's no way other than doing that through the draft right now. You know, we don't have nobody else that's basically sealing the deal for that spot. So we have to find somebody in the draft. And I think if you can use that 36 pick to find yourself back up into the first, man, you might get lucky. You know, I have the privilege of talking to 2 guys that I feel like every day or half of the week, you know, Logan Paulson and Fred Smoot, when it comes to talking about draft picks and draft and all these guys, you know, basically breaking down and critiquing these guys, they're some of the best in the business. And listening to some of their setups about how they will slide up or slide down, it's crazy. I be sitting up there, I don't say a word, I just listen, you know what I mean? I'm very observative, but one of the things that Fred said that made a lot of sense is, you know, getting back up in the first round, and if you have to, you know, give somebody a player or another pick to be able to do that. And I think it's easy for us to do that. Now, the guy that you might want to go after, because if you're looking at some of those guys, if we get back up there and if it goes the way some of these PFF grades are saying, a guy that's in the 20s area, Mims from Georgia, that guy there, we all love him. We know he's a young buck that didn't play a lot, but it's a huge dude, you know what I'm saying? But we just need somebody for that position. We need somebody that we can have that come in that's going to be solidifying that left tackle spot. So who knows who's going to be the guy that's available already around that time if we do that, but I think it's vital that we do so.
Yep.
And fellas, we got the perfect fan question to match this, and we're actually getting these fan questions from the people in the audience right now, so thank you all so much.
Appreciate y'all.
As a matter of fact, when I say your name, raise your hand if this is your question, just so we can show you love. So say we do stay in the second round. Say we keep one of those picks, all right? This is from Matt. Matt, where you at? There you go, Matt. All right, bro, we appreciate you, man. Nice shirt. So Matt wants to know, if we do stay in the second round, what position would you focus on taking in the second round?
I'm still going left tackle.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to build my offensive line.
Yeah.
We went 4 years of building the defense. We didn't care about the offense. So you gotta put some emphasis on building your offensive line. San Francisco, where Adam Peters came from, he walked in. They had a defensive line. Trent Williams ended up being over there, right?
Yeah.
They didn't stop there. They got some more. So when you have Trent and his crew going against that D-line every day, what happens? So I remember back in the day, in 1991, when it was the Hogs against the Capitol defense. Charles Mann and crew going against Joe Jacoby and crew. When we win the games, that was easy.
Yeah.
Because they were going through the best of the best every day. So when we built that D-line like that, I would go to some of the practice. D-line was destroying our offensive line. And I'm looking like, when they get in the game, we're going to get some people that's probably better than our D-line. But you got to make sure that your offensive line, like today, the most important position in sports in football, because I think hockey is probably playing a hockey goal is tougher than quarterback. Playing quarterback is tough.
Yeah.
But you got to protect that guy. He's the most expensive guy out there.
Yeah.
How the hell do you not try and protect him? How do you think it's okay not to go get offensive linemen to protect that guy when everyone say, oh, how important the quarterback is, how vital he is, how expensive he is? Well, when you got expensive stuff, what you do? You protect it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you should be looking at offensive linemen wherever you can look for them.
Yeah.
Because this offensive line has to be, if we're going to go on a run, we need an offensive line that's going to be good for 5 to 7 years to be able to go on that type of run.
And Tan, I gotta imagine you feel the same way. So I'm gonna hit you with another fan question.
Okay.
This is from, I'm assuming, Ed or ED. Ed, my boy got the championship belt.
I see
got
you.
the fedora. You a whole vibe, Ed, man. We appreciate you. Ed's question, Tan, is for you. A young quarterback can get injured or fall flat their rookie year, as we've seen. Any concerns with the new guy coming in and running this offense?
Well, first of all, I'm not going to talk about anything that's not saying prosperity and
just
things gonna do good. Man. Let's get all them positive vibes in the building. I mean, but that's, it's football. And that's one of the things that, we sit here to this day and talk about the what ifs about RG3. You know what I mean? The what ifs. And, things happen in this sport, but at the same time, I think if we sit there and hang our hats on the negative part of the game, then we're not giving ourselves a chance to see that guy or whoever it may be have the kind of career that we want them to have, So I won't get caught up on that. All I can do is say, whoever we get, I'm hoping that we hit with it. You know what I mean? I'm hoping that we're dead on. That's the guy that we wanted, and that's the guy that come in here and do what we need to be done. But like I said before, it's a team sport. It's a team sport. So regardless of the quarterback position, if we don't take care of those other areas, which I know these guys are going to because they've done everything else up to this point so well. We can just throw so much praise out there to Adam and those guys and crew. I mean, when you look at our team on paper from last year, the guys that left and the guys that we brought in already that much better. So now it's all about just solidifying a couple of key positions in the draft to bring some ready to play now guys in, offensive line, or left tackle, quarterback, maybe a cornerback here and there. If we can hit with those guys, man, we give ourselves a chance to go out there and really compete this year and have a winning season.
Robert hit his first year.
Yeah.
I think the problem with Robert was decisions that were being made behind the scenes that made him think he was bigger than the team.
Bingo.
And once you start thinking you're bigger than the team, your team will turn on you.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that the decisions that happen, no matter who the quarterback is, that quarterback comes and he hits, make sure he stays humble.
Yeah.
Make sure he understands that you can't do a damn thing by yourself. I would make a point when I was in college, when I ran a play or threw a pass, I always saw someone who didn't do the best job. But at the end of the game, I would talk about how great of a job he did. And they would come up to me and say, man, I missed that block. I said, no, man, you were fighting hard. The next game, he didn't miss a play.
Yeah.
When I became a kick and a punt returner, I always knew who threw the block that sprung me. I also knew who missed the block that could stop something. But I found a way to praise those guys. Mm-hmm. That quarterback has to play that game.
Yeah.
Okay? And if the quarterback understands that mindset, when he hits, he can bring everybody else along with him. Mm-hmm. Because as long as your quarterback respects you, you're never going to try to go out there and be the one that makes a mistake and cause him to make a bad play. Mm-hmm. So I just think that whole thing got too much hype going with it. But the people in place right now, hell, you meet Josh Harris, they spent $6 billion. You would not think they spent $6 billion because they're the most down-to-earth people in the world.
And they still spending.
So, and I think they're leading with that mindset to where they're very humble.
Yeah.
And I think this team can be great and be humble. If you've been around long enough to remember back in the day, they were winning Super Bowls, but they were in the community all the time.
All the time.
They were hanging out with people.
Yeah.
It was a connection, and I think that's what you have to build on and start worrying about that more. That's why I want to see guys hanging out with each other. Because when I am cool with you, like we go on the road for games, we hang.
Yeah.
I don't want nothing to happen to them, and when I come on this show, I want to be great to make sure they going to be looking great, and they do the same for me. You get that happening on this football team, sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit.
Yeah,
sure.
man. Great fan questions, y'all. Thank y'all so much for being here. B-Mitch, I'm going to ask you a quick question, then end with Tanner, because we got one more quick fan question from Tanner. But
one more
B-Mitch,
for
I
the
want to
third
talk to you
time.
about this because I want to talk to you about this because
Tana, one more time.
One more time. So Tana had mentioned Dan Quinn and Anna Peters in their collaboration. You mentioned this a little earlier, and I want you to touch on this. I feel like they deserve their flowers. They have kept this so close to the vest, what they're going to do with number 2. Yeah. Through all the speculations, through being new, through being first-time collaborators together. How impressed have you been with Adam Peters and Dan Quinn so far?
I've been super impressed because I can be honest with you, man, there have been a lot of coaching staffs come through here. And I'll be walking in the weirdest places and people give me information. Yeah. And I'm like, really? And I just sit back and it is exactly what they told me happened. No one has said anything. Yeah. Okay, I went in them same places where I got information before and I ain't getting no information no more. For them to be able to hold this thing that close to the vest, and I think what it is, they are process driven to where I'm going to talk to you, and then I'm going to go back and talk to y'all again. Because I want to see if you're going to remember the stuff. They have kind of that lawyer's mindset, you know what I mean? To where I'm going to ask questions, I'm going to come back and ask you that same question a different way to see if you on your P's and Q's. So they doing a damn good job, and I mean they did a great job this far, and I've been thoroughly impressed because I thought something would have came out by now. And
we wanted it to.
We got a lot of people speculating, and that's exactly what they're doing. Yep. Listen, Schefter, Garofalo, all of them, okay, they are speculating just like we do locally. They're the best of the best, and I admire the jobs that they do, but they don't know anything. They're guessing just like the rest of us.
Mitch, Tana, man, y'all killed this. Fans, y'all killed it.
Appreciate
Thank you guys so much.
Appreciate
Now, for those of y'all, we know y'all are here because y'all are familiar, but those of y'all that aren't familiar with Command Center, Tana is known as like the drippiest, swaggiest guy. I try my best, but Tana does his thing, right? Tana got the shoes to the hat all the time. So this last question is from a fan for Tana. Now, this is from our producer, Kayla Key, who's back in Ashburn. She's going to be holding down the studio for us. This question is, draft night is a time to show up and show out. What did you wear on draft night? Brother, did you start with the shoes, jewelry, or was it the clothes? Did you have a hat? Tana, how'd you pull it together?
Oh, okay, so that's the easy one. Well, you got to think, I was 21. Yeah. So I wasn't trying to dress to impress back then. I was as urban as they come back in those days. Urban. I think Sean John and Fubu was around, so I was wearing one and the other. But honestly, to be real with you, it's crazy how things transpire. At the time, you know how when you're getting ready to get selected and you know you one of those guys, different brands will say, hey, we want to dress you. Yeah. We want to potentially sign a deal with you, or you sign a deal with us, but we want to dress you first, see if you like these clothes. Sean John sent me a box of clothes, bro. I had like, I want this, I want that, whatever you don't want. And that's right, I'm going to kill him tomorrow. And I put it out.
Laid it out on the bed.
Yeah, I laid it out on the bed. I had the Sean John hat to go. You see, I still wear hats to these days. Had my Sean John hat, and I had the little Sean John white beard. I mean, I was nice. I looked nice that day. But yeah, man, I was really pleased to have somebody to say, hey, this is what we want to do for you. Yeah. And it was crazy. Fast forward, I didn't know that I was going to get selected by the Jets, and I ended up getting up there and having a meeting to potentially sign a deal. I was so busy on wanting to focus on football, I didn't want to go through some of the stuff that I had to do to be a Sean John, right. I guess, model / guy who wears that, wears his label. But I would appreciate that offer, though. It was really dope to have them consider me to being one of their guys.
Kind of a great decision at this point.
I'm about to say, glad you wasn't going to them Diddy parties, Tana. I was going to say, don't let Fred Smoot know.
Hey, he said I was about to say no Diddy.
The Madness family, give it up for these gentlemen, producers. That's Maddie Benson right there. That's Jason Johnson. Show goes well, and we appreciate y'all so much for you guys' hard work. Now remember, this ain't it for pre-draft live. And then when we're on the clock on the first round, we will also be live, baby. And it won't just be us.
We're going to be in suits, too.
We're going to be suited and booted.
Logan
Paulson is going to be in a suit out in Ashburn in the studio. Logan Paulson. Now, I don't know if it's going to be a full suit or just going to be the jacket, and he's still going to be wearing shorts. I have no idea, but we have asked him to wear a suit.
You got some shoes?
I don't know. We got him a couple J's now. He's getting his collection up. Okay. Logan Paulson, London Fletcher, and Bram Weinstein will be out in Ashburn holding it down in the studio. And then, of course, we have the Mouth of the South, Fred Smoot and Mike Jakes, our Get Loud crew, will be out amongst the fans out in the DMV. So we got you fully covered. And it's not just Thursday, Friday as well. We will all be out there Friday as well. So we got you fully covered. So make sure you're on the Commanders YouTube page. Make sure you're on the Commanders Facebook page. And make sure you are on X. We will be live on all of those. Commanders family, thank y'all so much again. Shout out to MGM Grand Detroit for hosting us and holding us down. I can't wait to eat. The food smells so good. Hope y'all got something ready for me. And Commanders family,
I have a suggestion for them too.
Do you?
Salmon bites. These come on this menu here. Salmon bites are awesome,
and
dude.
You know what, B. Mitch? I'm glad you said suggestions. Because I'd love to get a prediction on the way out, man. Who do y'all think we take at number 2?
JD.
Oh, is that it? Is it a consensus?
JD, baby.
I'm JD as well. Commanders family, we love y'all and appreciate y'all so much. We cannot wait to see y'all tomorrow night for the 2024 NFL Draft. We out.